Hello, and welcome to this tutorial where I will teach you about tabs and leader dots. Sometimes you may have noticed in menus and similar items that they sometimes get the tabs or they get items to line up exactly at a certain spot. It's tempting to want to use the space bar to do this, but the space bar is based off of the character widths, and sometimes it won't make it line up evenly. That's when we use tabs. Tabs are a predetermined spot on our rulers where when I hit the tab key, things line up automatically. Let's start by just drawing us a text box here to kind of see what we're talking about. By default, if I just hit the tab key, you'll notice that that the text jumps to a predetermined spot. Well, I can finesse that if I want, but first I'm going to take out all the tabs. And note that I have it set where there are no spaces in between the words. So I'm going to highlight the text and go up to Type and select Tabs. And you'll see this little ruler show up that will allow me to see when I place the tabs and where I will place the tabs. Now there's different types of tabs that you can use, and you have to be aware of that, and I'll show you what those types are in a minute. By default, it starts with a left justified tab. This is based off of our text alignments that we've already used in InDesign. It means that all the type on that tab will be aligned to the left-hand side. So if I were to take this tab and click on it, when I click in this little ruler area here, it will create an arrow that is similar to the tab that I've selected. And I can place those tabs wherever I like. So that when I go into my text and I hit the tab key, it will then set the text to wherever I want it to go based off of my tab settings. I can then adjust the tabs if I want, and you can see when you click and hold down on the tab, you can see the line that shows you where that tab is. And as you move it on the ruler, it can adjust the distance to the desire that you want. Sometimes we make it easy on ourselves by drawing guidelines using our rulers to where we want the text to line up at. So if I want the tab to line up here, I'll draw a guideline, click on my text, select my text, and since this is for the first tab, it's going to be my first tab here. Then I'm going to click it and draw it so it lines up to my line. Conversely, I can draw another guideline if I want and move my second tab so the line lines up or where I want it to go. We also have a feature called leader dots. Leader dots, and you've seen these before on menus and the like, where it's a bunch of little dots that lead the eye to another item that we're supposed to view in our hierarchy, more than likely second in our hierarchy. To create leader dots, you have to select the tab that is affected by the leader dots, and in the leader box here, when you click on it, just type a period. And when I tab to the next box, you'll see it creates leader dots, but just for the second tab, not for the first tab. If I want to add leader dots in the first tab, I select the tab by clicking on it, type a period, and then when I hit my tab key, it creates leader dots. Leader dots are the most common ones that we use in tabs, but it can actually be any symbol that you want it to be. Again, with my first tab selected, and I highlight the leader character, if I want it to be exclamation points, I would just type in an exclamation point. Or if I want it to be question marks. The leader dots are fairly limited though in what we can put in there. It's really hard to put glyphs in there, so you're kind of limited to what you can type on the keyboards. Now there are different types of tabs that you can use. So for example, I've already set up some right here. And I'm going to select all my text. And you can see that there are already some tabs that are in there. I have a left align tab, but there's also a centered tab that we can use if we want to align the text centered. We of course have a right align tab, which of course is opposite of a left align tab. It will align everything up to the right. And then we have a decimal tab. Decimal tabs are pretty important if we want to list a bunch of prices and we want them to all line up on the decimal point. So if I wanted to modify this so that you could have leader dots, I'm going to select just the first line, click on the tab, type in a leader dot, click on the tab, type in a leader dot, click on the tab, type in a leader dot. I'm going to repeat this until I have leader dots for all the tabs, like so. And so now the leader dots lead me to important pieces of information, and particularly when we have multiple lines of type and multiple pieces of information, that sometimes we want to make sure that the eye follows along and doesn't get lost in the other lines of type, which is why we have leader dots. And this is how we use tabs and leader dots in InDesign.